Welcome to the It Doesn't Hold Up podcast. We review and reevaluate all things we remember fondly from our childhood and years prior to see if they still hold up. And more often than not, they probably don't. I'm Stuart Shepherd, along with my co-host and good friend Michael Smith. Smith, how are you doing?
Stuart, very well. And I've been putting a lot of thought today into one very important topic, and I want to get your views on this.
Proceed.
If you had to fuck a baked good, which would it be?
It's an interesting question. Probably not a pie. Yeah, I don't know. Baked Alaska, maybe? What are you?
Baked Alaska.
It's kind of hot, it's kind of cold.
Sausage roll.
Oh, yeah.
Use your finger, pop the sausage roll out. You've got like a lovely pastry fleshlight. You just rack it on, and you can just kind of mop up at the end, chuck it away.
Push out the sausage.
I'm surprised people don't do it more often, to be honest. I was at lunch today and I was looking at the sausage roll. I was like, yeah.
I've wondered just how long it was going to take for us to lower the tone. I mean,
I chose very long.
I chose a very apt film that was going to lower the tone anyway. But before we even got there you go.
Yes, count on me, mate.
Yes, bravo. So, baked Alaska for me, sausage roll for you. Right, okay. Before we get on to this episode's nomination,
now.
Yeah, I bet. For a sausage roll or for a baked Alaska, or a bit of both.
What you got? the one without jizz in it.
Yeah. Anyway, right, before we get on to this week's smut, just want to talk about last episode's feedback, which was Ace Ventura Pet Detective from 1994. So, do you remember when we got to that bit at the party when there was a guy dressed as like some sort of sea captain or something, and we had no idea what the references were? Well, I've been told what they are. So, friend of the show, Alex, has said the nautical reference is from Love Boat, Captain Stubing, or Stubbing, or whatever. So, yeah, that's what it's from. I never watched Love Boat, so I've got no idea. And
no, of course you didn't watch The Love Boat. You weren't a 40-year-old man in 1972.
Exactly.
Why is he watching The Love Boat?
God knows. Maybe he watched it with his parents or grandparents. I don't know. He also said, I've just barely laughed at public transport over Captain Cock. We were killing ourselves laughing at that as well. And then also, thank you once again for ruining my childhood. You are welcome. Not sure if you got any additional feedback to that, but yeah, there were a lot of people who also messaged me and said, yeah, thanks for ruining my childhood again.
Most of the people that I spoke to knew that it was bad and knew what its bad reputation was. So I don't think it came as much of a surprise to anyone that when you get under the hood of it, it's just fucking terrible.
That's just it. A lot of people give a shit. Like, oh, why do you keep on spoiling our films that we love from childhood? It's like, have you gone back and watched them recently? Or are you just remembering them from like 15, 20 years ago, thinking that they're good?
Take off those rose-tinted glasses and have a proper look at these things. They're fucking horrible.
Indeed. Well, anyway, moving on. No more talk about Ace Ventura Pet Detective. So this episode nomination came from me, and it was a year that we haven't chose yet, 1999, and it is American Pie. So, brief synopsis about this. It's about four friends from a Michigan town who make a pact to lose their virginity before they graduate from high school. That's literally the plot. There is no more to say about that. It's about four dudes wanting to get laid.
And that's barely the plot.
Yeah. So as mentioned, it came out in 1999, which was a very interesting year. So, take it away, Smith. What was going on in 1999?
It was a very, very interesting year indeed, 1999. Obviously, we were barreling towards the year 2000 with the millennium bug on everybody's mind. What was going to happen? Could computers deal with the clocks turning to zero? Yeah, they could. Everything was fine. Nothing happened. What else happened in 1999? Well, Britain's first received the minimum wage in 1999, which came as a surprise to me when I was doing my research. I thought it was before that, but apparently no. It was 1999, £3.60 per hour, £3 per hour for anyone under the age of 22. So
wow.
I inevitably got my first job in a corner shop. I was on the minimum wage, topped up by stealing as much chocolate as I could get my hands on.
Well, you got to make ends meet, haven't you?
Yep. Towards the end of the year, the beef on the bone ban was lifted, with the BBC running the headline T-bone steaks available for Christmas.
Was it really that long? So I remember it was 96 or 97. It took till 99 until they stopped that. Wow.
It took till 99. Vladimir Putin on the 31st of December 1999 took over from Boris Yeltsin as the president of Russia, stepping up from prime minister. And hasn't that gone well?
Well, let's say no more in case we're shot.
The euro was first introduced. So that's in world news, that's a pretty big one.
Oh, the currency. I thought you meant the tournament.
No, not the euros.
The football tournament. Sorry.
Right,
quite
have you never
apt
heard of
because the
Euro
Euros are going on at the moment.
96?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? You're lying.
Well,
Yes,
no,
sorry, the euro currency.
currency. Yes,
Yes.
the currency, the euro, was first introduced on October 12th of 1999. The 6 billion person was born. What planet? The population of the planet hit 6 billion.
How the hell do they measure shit like that?
I don't know, census.
Yeah, I
Probably
guess
just go
so.
around having a
Yeah.
count. You're like, 1, 2, 3.
Oh
No
no,
one.
I've lost count.
7. Start again. Start
Yeah.
again. In America, the Columbine shooting happened in 1999, providing a very different view on high school life than the world of American Pie. We won't say too much more about that. And in entertainment, premiering this year was The Sopranos, The West Wing, and Family Guy.
Yep.
Also, Eminem released the Slim Shady LP.
Yeah.
Big films of the year were The Matrix and The Phantom Menace.
I remember 1999 was a good year for movies anyway. Just there was loads of blockbusters out of year.
So yeah, 1999 was a good year for movies actually. So I was looking at American Pie and how that did and where it came in the box office, and the things that came below and the things that came above. There are some notable great films in there. There are some great independent films in there. If anyone out there listening hasn't seen the film Go,
Oh yeah, that
I
is
would
good.
strongly recommend you go check that out. It's a very, very good film. So actually, I'll jump. No, I'll save that for the end.
Yeah,
we'll
save
jump
it.
into where it came and what else was out this year. But that was the most of stuff that was going on in 1999. There was other stuff, but I'll hold on to it just in case we come back and visit this year again. Cool. Immediately next week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is going to be the new 1994, isn't
it? Stu, we're going to have to cover Wild Wild West at some point.
We are. Yes, we are. But hopefully not next week.
It didn't hold up at the time.
No, it didn't. There's like 1 or 2 funny jokes in it. That's it. Anyway. Right.
Anyway,
so
1999. There you go.
There you go. Right. So how old were we when we first saw this? So I think you told me offline you didn't see it at cinema. So how did you come about seeing this?
I saw this on video. I missed it at the cinema. I can't remember why I missed it at the cinema. It strikes me as the kind of thing I would have gone to see at the cinema, but I didn't. I very strongly remember seeing the sequel at the cinema. I've got a very big memory of going to see that. I also have a memory of having this on VHS first, then later on DVD, where I got the box set with 1 and 2, and the two DVD box set of the first 2 films. So I would have seen this on VHS when it came out, which probably would have put me at somewhere around about 15. I think by the time this came out on VHS in the UK, it would have been somewhere in the year 2000.
Yeah, so America got it in July 1999. We got it in October 1999. So by the time it came out on video, yeah, it would have been about February, March 2000. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it should have been roughly around my birthday. So yeah, probably saw it somewhere around there. How about yourself?
So I saw it at the cinema. So a friend of mine had taken a summer trip to America, and when he was out there with his cousins visiting family, they snuck into a movie theater and watched American Pie. They only got 20 minutes into it. They got thrown out. Now, I read that that's part of your Smith trivia. There was a lot of cracking down on this. It was this film, and there was another film that was a bit raunchy as well. But American movie theaters were very hot on no one's sneaking in to watch these kind of films. So he got thrown out. And then when it came round to about October 1999, he said, do you want to come watch this film, me, American Pie? It's really, really good. I've only seen 20 minutes of it, but it's very funny. Do you want to come watch it? All right, cool. Went and watched it. Yep, really enjoyed it. And then a couple of weeks later, I went and watched it again because a girlfriend at the time wanted to see it. So went and watched it again for a second time. And then, same as you, except I didn't get it on video. I got it on DVD. Now, this is interesting, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, because I remember getting the DVD, same sort of time as you got the video. And when we were discussing it, when you'd finally watched it, you discussed a couple of scenes. I went, that doesn't sound right. And then I'm like, well, maybe your version's different. So you lent me your video. I think I lent you the DVD. I was like, the video version's the unrated version. The DVD version is the theatrical one. And yeah, I think for the purpose of this, we watched the theatrical one on Prime, didn't we?
Yeah. And by the time I got my DVD copy of 1 and 2, it was the unrated one.
Yeah, and I remember I've got a vivid memory of us both buying that at the same time because American Pie 2 had just come out. And me and you saw American Pie 2 at the cinema. And when it came out to release on DVD, they released 1 and 2, and 1 was the unrated one. We both bought it at the same time. And then we bumped into one of our teachers when we were buying it, which was a bit awkward. He was like, oh, hello, boys. What are you buying? American Pie.
Porn. I'm buying some pornography. Dear listeners, as I'm sure you can understand, me and Stu, when we went DVD shopping back in the day, did skip merrily in Blue Water arm in arm.
Of course, especially when buying porn.
To buy our Now I buy my DVDs and Blu-rays under cover of darkness and hide them from my other half.
Yeah, normally you buy them in CEX.
Yeah, CEX or off the internet. Get them delivered to the office like my secret shame.
You buy your SEX from CEX. I'm going to write that down. That's quite funny. Anyway, right. So we were both about 15 when we watched this, and yeah, I imagine subsequently watched it again and again because it was a very juvenile film that would have appealed to our demographic.
Absolutely. Captured what we thought the lives of American teenagers were like at the time, and nothing like our lives were like at the time.
Nothing like our lives. Okay, right. Enough scene setting, whatever. Should we delve into the inverted commas plot?
Let's get into the plot.
Cool. Right. So Universal this time, not New Line Cinema, and instantly we get 1970s porno music. Right, here we go.
So immediately when I was watching this, I was like, really glad I never watched this with my parents.
Can you imagine?
Like immediately spank my hairy ass.
Yeah, because like your dad used to take you to the cinema quite a bit when you weren't quite 15, so he could sneak you in. Oh God, you would have died of embarrassment.
Yeah, he took me to see like Ace Ventura. I can live with that. Not Ace Ventura, Austin Powers, sorry.
Yeah. But no, it's not American Pie. So yeah, we get some 1970s porno music, and we're introduced to Jim, who's sitting there in his room watching porn. Now, why he's watching porn on TV, which it's never quite explained whether it's a shitty videotape he's watching or he has hacked illegal channels or whatever. It's like, why isn't he just watching porn on his computer like a normal person? We established later in the movie he's got internet.
But it's 1999. You see the state of the internet in 1999. It wasn't like, I don't think he'd be watching down. I don't think the online porn market really taken off by 1999. My question was more, why is he watching scrambled porn channels in the middle of the day?
Yeah, it's supposed to be night, but you can see outside the blind it's broad daylight.
And with the sound right up.
Yeah. Instead of just trying to turn the TV off or whatever, when his mum comes in, he's still made like, oh, hey, mum, yeah, I'm going to bed in a minute. Okay, yeah, bye-bye. Like, why don't you just immediately turn the fucking TV off? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. That's why I said, why isn't he turning the TV off? And why have they not realised what he's watching?
Oh, yeah. And then both mum and dad come in to say goodnight to him. Like, this dude's like 18. He's not like a little boy. Why have you both come inside to say goodnight to him?
I still insist my mum and dad come in to wish me goodnight every night, despite the fact they live a solid 2-hour drive away.
And you're nearly 40.
Yeah, well. How dare you?
Sorry. Yeah. And then there is a funny bit, though, when his dad's defending him, going, no, he's not watching the legal channels. I mean, it's just bad reception. He goes, oh, spank my hairy ass. Oh, what's that? I love Eugene Levy. He's so good in this film.
Yeah, he's very, very good in this film.
And then, yeah, pulls away the pillow, and then we see that Jim's got a boner with a sock over it. I was like, oh, okay. So immediately,
I've always wondered this. What is the sock thing?
There is something about.
I'm sure I've seen it in other American things with the tube sock, and it's like, what?
You jizz into the sock, so it doesn't go all over yourself, or you got to mess about with tissue. You just jizz into the sock.
Just tissue seems like it'd be easier to dispose of. You can just flush that shit down the toilet.
Well, yeah.
What are you gonna do with that sock? You're gonna put it in the washing. You ain't doing your own washing.
Yeah, his mum's gonna be doing that. She's got, why is his sock all wet? Ew! You're stupid. She's gonna know what that is.
You're giving your mum a jizzy sock.
Ugh, disgusting. Well, anyway, he's cool. It's totally embarrassing. Then we cut to next day, and Jim's telling his friend Oz about what's happened, and this sort of scene sort of interjects, so we're all meeting all the characters all at once. Because then we get Vicky and Kevin. They're driving along to school, and Vicky's all apprehensive because she's got an envelope and gets Kevin to open it for him, and it's a college acceptance letter.
Now, why wouldn't you open that with your parents? Why would you be opening it in the car with your boyfriend? I mean, I know it's probably ease of introducing the characters, and it's that kind of world building. I also this is the kind of thing. This is when it started to grate on me almost immediately. This because I know it's a sex comedy, but they talk about nothing else pretty much for the entire film. That is all they talk about. Like every bit of dialogue is about sex, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. It's not even like what did you get up to at the weekend or anything. I know there's a bit about lacrosse, I guess. Like Ozzy's really into all that, you know.
The weirdest sport choice you could have made.
I didn't even know what this sport was until I watched this film for the first time.
Well, it's because lacrosse? In the UK it's generally played by girls at posh schools.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and they do Latin as well. I think they're at some sort of exclusive middle class school. Like, perhaps. I think this is probably some sort of academy they're all at.
Who knows?
Unless they just do Latin in American high schools.
I don't know.
The American listeners, why don't you tell us? Do they do? Yeah. Do you do Latin in American high schools as a matter of standard?
Or was it only 25 years ago that you did it? Oh God, this really makes me think this film is 25 years old.
No, don't. It makes me feel very old, mate.
Yeah. It doesn't look like it's 25 years old. It could have easily, apart from the fashion, you could be like, oh no, I can imagine this.
The fashion ages it quite quickly.
Yeah.
As does any shop where they're dealing with the internet.
Oh yeah, true. Anyway, so yeah, Vicky's all happy she's got into uni, and then she tells Kevin that she loves him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay." I was like, "Why wouldn't she immediately be like, why haven't you said this back?" But anyway, fine. Yeah, Kevin then meets up with Jim and Oz in the corridor and says, "Oh, Vicky said the L word, yay!" And then immediately we cut to Vicky and Jessica right next to this film sponsorship, I might add, Mountain Dew, that we see throughout
it's all
this
over
movie.
it. Yeah, all over it.
Yeah, and they're discussing.
Really made me want a Mountain Dew.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, not that I have a particular fondness for that. Anyway, and they're discussing long distance relationships at uni and whether it work or not. Folks, it doesn't. It doesn't. Anyway, so
no, don't. If there's anybody out there listening that's thinking about trying a long-term relationship, you give it a go. You try. You give it your best shot. But they will cheat on you. That's all I'm going to say. They will do that. That will happen.
Yes.
Give it a shot.
Which is exactly what's explored in Road Trip. Anyway, right. So then we get Alison Hannigan, who's playing Michelle. She's hardly in this movie. I remember her being in this a lot more than she is.
No, she's barely in it. She's barely in it. I mean, a lot of the women characters in particular are barely in it. Like Natasha Lyonne. Actually, Natasha Lyonne was in it slightly more than I remembered her being in it, but she's not really in it that much. Shannon Elizabeth's only in like 2 scenes.
Yeah. So it's probably Tara Reid, really. So, and Heather, Mina Suvari.
Mina Suvari, yeah. They're probably the only two that are in it as much as the men. Yeah.
Yep. She's there with a band geeks, and they're saying that they should play their instruments backwards as it would be really funny. And then we'd hope to see Michelle again for a while. And then Vicky and Jessica are talking about sex. And then Vicky wants it to be perfect. And there's that line, "Oh, it's not a space shuttle launch, it's just sex." And this is the theme throughout, that Vicky just wants everything to be perfect, want the perfect relationship, perfect sex, whatever.
Then Kevin also wants it to be perfect when he says he loves her, which is weird.
Yeah, and we'll get onto that later, because then that whole thing's like, why did you make him say it? But anyway, doesn't matter. Then what happens? Yeah, then we meet Paul Finch, and he's drinking a mochaccino, and they're giving him shit about that for some reason. Oh yeah, that's the Latin thing they said. They went, "Oh, did you get the Latin homework?" And he makes a joke about, "Oh, my dog ate it in Latin." I was like, okay. And then
it will come as no surprise to anyone who knows me that was my favourite character when I was younger.
Finch, yeah, I kind of like Finch. Right,
he's a wanker, and I'm a wanker, and I lean into it.
Yeah, he's a posh wanker. Yeah, you think he's got the moral high ground, but then later on he joins in with some of the shitbag things they do. It's like, "Oh, Finch, you're better than this. Don't do this."
One thing I actually enjoyed about this, I kind of sort of noted as I was watching it, that it doesn't lean into the tropes that a lot of high school films do, right? It's not like, here are the jocks, here are the nerds, it doesn't do that. Everybody sort of mingles in with everybody else. It doesn't, bar the band geeks who get shut out of the party. There isn't much in the way of that hierarchy, really.
No, the only real
Sherman, but
it's Sherman and Stifler are the two douchebags really in this movie, and that's it.
Yeah, but even they're both there all the time.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, my wife even said her favourite character of this was Oz. She went, "Oh, you think this guy, when you're introduced to him, he's going to be a cock?" I was like, "No, he's actually probably the nicest one out of all of them. You know, he's the one who grows throughout the movie."
Yeah, he's got the best character arc. Certainly has the best arc throughout the film, and certainly, but even then, I think when he's introduced, he still seems like he's a decent enough guy. Like he's trying, I think, to be something that he's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's trying to be a jock, and he doesn't really work because he's just not that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's more complicated than I think people might give it credit for, or at least more nuanced in its characters.
Yeah, definitely. But then unfortunately we meet Stifler. I'm like, "Oh god, this guy's such a cock. He's so much more annoying than I remembered him watching this."
But he's meant to be.
Yeah. But it's weird that he was the breakout star of these movies. He went on to have quite a good career. And then he went on to star in other movies like Road Trip and Role Models and shit like that, you know.
I think it's because he had the 1-2 punch of this and Final Destination pretty much.
It was in Final Destination. Yeah.
And I think that kind of helped because he played variations but slightly different characters in both.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, he's quite a nice guy in Final Destination, but yeah, he's not in this at all. He's a total dick. He reminds everyone there's a party tonight. They should all come along. And then Oz is saying that, "Oh yeah, I'm dating a college chick, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna get sex tonight. So I'm gonna see this college chick, and then I'll come along to the party." And then Stifler teases them all about being virgins. He says, "I'll look for you in the no fucking section." I think he says something else like, "Oh yeah, why don't you remove the shrink wrap from your dicks and fucking use them," or something like that. So this is implying that Stifler's not a virgin. So he's not. He's like their friend, but he's not. Because I've seen some things reviewing, and this is about 5 friends. No, it's about 4 friends, and they're kind of loose association with Stifler. I didn't really see him as a 5-group friend group.
I mean, it's sort of weird as well because Finch is barely part of the group. He's not. He's only in a few scenes with them. He's not. There's a lot of stuff where he's not there.
I don't know. There's quite a few scenes where
the bit where they're getting all their
together
suits and stuff and that, and he's not there for any of that.
Yeah, I don't know. But then there's other scenes when he's hanging out with Kevin or Jim or whatever. I don't know. There is one thing, and I noticed it later on. Oz only speaks to him once in this movie. There's a bit when he does the mouthwash, and he looks at him and goes, "I wish you wouldn't do that." And that's literally the only time Oz speaks to him in this movie. And I even picked that up when I was, yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Right, so then what happens? So then they're at the hot dog joint, and I've got that bit anyway. So the boys are discussing Stifler's plan tonight, and then that's when they will do a mouthwash check, and Finch spits it into his cup. I was like, why did he just go to the toilet and do that? It's fucking disgusting. And also, why was he doing a mouthwash check anyway? Because he says he's going to arrive later. Oh no, he didn't tell him that, did he? You find that out later. That was his plan to get to the party later. And then Jim wants to crack onto Nadia when he gets to the party, and he's asking him, should he be called Hip Jim or Laid Back Jim? They'll make fun of him about his shirt, and then they make fun of Kevin for only being on third base, and he's like, oh, well, at least I know what third base feels like. Oh, that sort of thing. Typical lads stuff. And then what happens? Oh, yeah, lads. And then they're outside the hot dog joint, and Jim asks what third base feels like, and I was like, oh, it feels like warm apple pie. I'm like, oh, that's horrible.
Now, Stu, I don't mean to brag, but I've had some sex in my life.
Okay.
And it's nothing like apple pie. I think either he doesn't know what he's talking about, or the women that he's been touching have some sort of problem.
Might need to go see a doctor.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If it has the consistency of warm apple pie, you, madam, have a yeast infection.
Yeah. And then Jim asks McDonald's are homemade. That's actually a very good point, really. I think he wants us to elaborate on this strange analogy.
I wouldn't go sticking anything into a McDonald's apple pie. Those things are hotter than the core of the sun. You're gonna burn the end of you. You're gonna burn the end of your dick shut.
Can you imagine?
Going in way in
Make it stop
with a McDonald's apple pie welded onto your dick.
It's a funny story.
You ain't gonna believe this. Did you fuck it? I did, yeah. Yeah.
Did you? You saw that movie, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I did, yeah. I didn't have a proper one, so I just went to McDonald's.
Oh dear. Anyway, so we get to Stifler's party, and there's lots of people there. It's all in full swing. Not as crazy as that fucking party we saw in T-Wolf. This looked like kind of a normal party. And,
just people having a few drinks and a chat. It's like,
yeah.
There it is.
Weird games of people writhing around the floor with shaving cream all over them or whatever.
And then, the 80s were a different time. Everyone was coked off their nut.
That's true. And Stifler's walking by spanking girls' asses. And then he says, like, Vicky, Jessica, glad you can make it. As he turned around, he goes, bitches. Like, why? What have they done to you? And they're quite nice girls. Why did you call them bitches?
That man is a sex predator. When he's going around handing drinks to people, do not drink anything that man gives you.
No. And I must say, right, Stifler is a real piece of shit, but he does get his comeuppance more than one time during this movie. I was like, yeah, good. Like, if it was a bit like how Styles was in Teen Wolf, he's an absolute dick, but like never ever gets punished for what he does. But just like, yeah,
you're meant to believe that Styles is an admirable character, whereas Stifler is meant to be the butt of their jokes. I mean, they even admit at the end that they're only hanging out with him because he has parties. They don't like him.
No, exactly. And then he walks past Sherman. He's like, Sherman, what the fuck are you doing here? Sherman looks so much like someone we went to school with. I won't say who it is in case he's listening, but we'll talk about it offline. And I remember watching it back then. I was like, oh, he's that ugly cunt who we used to go to school with. But
the only thing I really know Sherman from, apart from this, is The Mist.
Yes, he is in The Mist.
Yeah. He is in The Mist. The Mist is a fucking fantastic film. What's The Mist?
Yeah, we won't cover that because it's good. We know it's good.
Yeah, no, I know it's good.
So then he goes over to Jim and Kevin and starts boasting about how he's going to bang some brunette chick later, and then he refers to himself as a Shermanator. I've written down, he goes, I'm a sophisticated sex robot sent back through time to change the future of one lucky lady. I'll be back. Then what? Yeah, then during this time, Vicky and Kevin go off to a room for sexual activity, and this is when Jim sees...
Should we go off some sexual activity, dear? Yes, let's. They do an awful lot of banging and sucking and all that other shit in other people's homes.
Yeah, I was going to say as well.
Dirty bastards.
How many bedrooms does this house have? Why is Stifler okay with this? Or does he actively encourage, there's about 10 bedrooms in this house, off you go, do whatever you want, I don't care.
I would not be comfortable having sex in someone else's house while a party was in full swing.
No, it's weird.
It would never come up. And I mean, I know that there are people that are, but those people are wrong uns.
Yeah. And also, is this supposed to be the same house as the one they go to at the end of the
No.
prom? No, it's not.
No,
Okay. You just
no,
got to
I thought that because at the end they're like, we're going to Stifler's for the party. I was like, we've already had a party at Stifler's. There's not really much variety in this. But then they say, I think there's a bit of ADR dialogue where you hear one of them say his mum got it in the divorce.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I
And this
think,
house
yeah,
does look a lot nicer second time rounds. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's the same house. So it just shows to show, yeah, Stifler's family are fucking rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, during this time, Jim realizes that Kevin and Vicky have gone off, and then he sees Nadia, and then oh my god, he walks over to her and he makes just a complete arse of himself. And I remember even watching the cinema years ago, it was so cringe. He goes over, just starts going, "Ah, that's great, that's great," and they'll just look at him like he's mad. He's like, well, "I'll see you later." Oh, that's at least happened to one of us in our lifetimes.
Oh yeah. I had it once. I've had it at a wedding. Yeah.
Oh really?
I didn't know it. I didn't know it. Didn't know anyone. I was just kind of walking up to groups of people like, huh? Yeah.
I'll leave. They're like, "Can I help you?"
They're like, we all know each other. Who are you? I'm like, I'm friends.
So
I'm friends with the groom. My friends didn't come.
awesome.
And then I just got horribly drunk and had to go home.
Yeah. If you get drunk, it's better. You care less about what people think. Anyway, so yeah, that's cringe-tastic. That's when Michelle and the band geeks knock at the door. And I don't know why Stifler opened the door. He just seemed to be like by the door immediately, and he opens it, and then they're like, "Oh, we're here for the party." He's like, "What party?" And someone emerges from behind and goes, "Yeah, party!" And then he's like, "I'm trying the house down the street," and just slams the door in their faces. Fucking asshole. What does it matter if they're there? I was like, "You let Sherman in." Oh dear. Then we cut to, oh god, this thing don't age well. We cut to Oz and his college chick date, and he's being all like cringe, like saying all this fake romantic shit or whatever. And then he says to her, "Suck me beautiful." He says, "My friends call me Nova," as in Casanova. And I'm like, actually, he is referred to as Nova because when you first see Stifler right at the start, when he runs, he goes, "Nova!" like that. So I always thought this line was just something he invented to impress this chick, but it looks like he is kind of known as that anyway. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting scene, this one, because she gives him some fairly good advice, which in character development he takes and runs with, and doesn't take rejection badly, which I suppose is a good thing to show on screen. She, however, is a sexual predator. She is a college-age woman going out with a much younger man.
Well, I think she's only a year older than him. I think she said she was a freshman or something. So they're only 1 year from going. Well, they're 18. It's legal.
Well, still feels weird. First year uni going out with a sixth former.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. But yeah, you're right. That is a bit.
My boyfriend's going to come pick me up in his car.
Yeah, and then she's quite happy going, "Oh, don't worry, I'll drive you back to your friends." Instead of being like, "Get the fuck out of this car. What the hell is wrong with you?"
Can walk, you fucking suck me beautiful.
Pervert. But yeah, no, she laughs her ass off, gives him that good advice, takes it really well. He takes it really well. He's like, "Oh, all right, fine." They just drive him back to the house. Yeah, then we cut to Vicky and Kevin are making out in one of the many rooms in this house. And he wants sex, but they suddenly hear these two dudes outside being like, "Dude, you trying to take a shit? You smell like a Yeti." And one of them goes, "Yeti! I am the Yeti!" And that's not the first time we'll hear that in this film. And then instead, she just performs oral sex on him instead. It's like, okay, fair compromise.
Well, all right then.
If you insist. By this point, Oz has made it to the party. I don't know why he's confessed about what happened. Why did he just turn up and just go, "Oh, it didn't work out, but I just came here instead"? No, he's off screen. He's told them exactly what he said and did.
There is a lot of stuff in this film where people just admit to like the shit they get up to and their embarrassing moments. So I wouldn't admit any of that shit to anyone.
Nope.
I'm like, no, nothing happened. Everything was fine.
No. Stifler's laughing his absolute arse off as well. And Jim's making fun of him a little bit, but not too much. And Stifler's like, "I'm going to find myself a little hardy. Suck me beautiful." He just walks off. Oh, Oz, you fool. And then we cut to like, Jim is just talking to some random dude who we never see again. And they're talking about all the big intelligent words that Jim knows. It's like, this is a really strange scene. Why is this here?
It's very odd.
He's like, "Oh yeah, I should be able to talk to girls. I'm really articulate." And he just starts spouting off a load of like big words. I don't know. Just thought it was odd. Vicky's continuing to perform oral sex on Kevin, and then just as he's about to do his beans, he sees a beer nearby, and he does it into the cup. Oh god, that's disgusting. I was like, "Was that your beer or just a random beer?" At this point, just in time, Stifler and some chick called Sarah arrive in the room, and they kick him out. And then Stifler's trying to bang her, but she's like, "Oh no, you're just going to spread rumors about it." And he's such an arsehole about it. She's like rolling his eyes, like, "Oh no way," and that sort of thing. And then somehow he manages to convince her to do it, and then predictably he drinks that jizzy beer. I'm like, "Oh god, horrible, absolutely horrible."
Yeah, it's by all accounts, apparently that was actual beer, but it just had some egg whites in it.
Yeah, I read that as well. It's weird as well because I do my research as
I
well.
wouldn't want to drink that anyway.
No. Well,
Jizz or egg whites in a beer, and neither of them are going to be good.
Well, egg white's got a lot of protein in it, but yeah. But no.
So's jizz.
Apparently so. God, you made me miss my point now. God, what was I saying? Oh yes. So yeah, I do my research as well, the same as you do for Smith Trivia. But I let you have it. But I knew about some of these facts because when I used to buy DVDs years ago, I used to watch the making ofs. I'd watch all the deleted scenes. I'd watch the making of. I'd watch the DVD with commentary on it. So some of this stuff I knew, like, oh yeah, the jizz is egg white. But yeah, I turned to my wife. Went, do you know what that is? That's egg white. That is.
She was like, oh,
"Cheers, Stu."
Yeah, cheers for that. It's weird. I still, to this day, if there's two versions of something on Blu-ray or DVD, and there's the normal one or the special edition with all the extras, I still get the one with all the extras, and I never fucking watch them.
Never.
Because I ain't got time.
I ain't got
time to watch the films, let alone all the fucking extras.
Well, when we were teenagers or at uni and we had like months off between terms, of course you had all the time in the world to watch extras on DVDs. But yeah. Stifler realizes what it is, and then off screen he throws up all over that Sarah girl, and then runs off screaming in front of Jim and that other random dude who we never see again. We cut to Vicky and Jessica discussing about how Kevin likes receiving oral sex, and then Vicky confesses.
What a shock!
Yeah, exactly. She confesses that Kevin's never given her an orgasm, and she's never had one herself. And then Jessica says, "You've never double-clicked your mouse." I was like, "I've never heard that term before. It's quite funny."
You have heard that term before. You've seen this film before.
I don't remember that line. But she goes, "You never double-click your mouse." Yeah. Then we get Stifler throwing up in the toilet, and then Kevin comes in and goes, "How's the pale ale?" I was like, "Why did you just admit that was you did that?" He could have gone up and kicked your ass for doing that. But he just...
Why is he admit to people that he drank jizzy beer? Why has he told them that is what has happened? Why did he not just go and be sick?
He could have just said, "Oh, I've had too much to drink." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, I just drank jizzy beer. Unless
it was mine. It's like, okay.
Unless Kevin just puts over to again. No, still. He still could have just been like, "Oh, he's had too much to drink," did he? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he never gets Kevin back for that because we'll talk about it later. He'll get other characters back for things that they've done to him, but he doesn't get Kevin back for it. I don't know whether it was just an honest mistake, like he hadn't done it to purposely get Stifler, and that's why he doesn't get him back. But I don't know.
I think you were trying to apply too much logic to the situation.
Far too much logic.
Far too much logic, mate.
And I think there's just an underlying hatred between Finch and Stifler anyway. There isn't necessarily that with Kevin. Then what happens? We meet John Cho. John Cho, why are you in this movie?
I'd forgotten he was in it.
Thank God. And he is credited with coming up with the MILF chant because...
Yeah, so I just put the John Cho coined MILF. Also, weirdly, do you notice in the credits he's credited twice?
Yep. He's in the quiet practice as well, which I never remembered.
Not meant to be the same character.
John Cho with a moustache. Yeah. So yeah, it's John Cho, some other dude, and Jim and Kevin are perving over a photo of Stifler's mum, as you do, as around someone's house. And then John Cho just starts chanting MILF at the photo. And then they walk off to go and talk to Sherman, because it looks like Sherman's about to bang that chick he was talking about earlier. And then I've written down, how many rooms does this house have? Literally every room, someone's in there having it off or doing a sex act or whatever.
Doing a sex act.
And then Kevin and Jim are angry that Sherman's about to have sex, and they just sort of rationalise with it, going, "Oh, what the Sherman, eh?" And then they walk past John Cho, and he's still going MILF. It's been going on for about 2 minutes. And then for some reason he just starts getting off with a photo. I wonder if John Cho looks back and like, why did I do this? So then Vicky overhears Jim and Kevin as they're walking down the stairs, and Kevin says something to the effect of, "Enough of this blowjob bullshit, I want to get laid already." And understandably, Vicky's really fucking angry. He was like, "Right, that's it, I'm going." So her and Jessica leave the party.
And he was like, "Oh, I put in months of effort." It's like, that's a really healthy way to look at it.
Yeah. It's like, do you even like being with Kevin?
Kevin in this film is really fucking entitled.
Yeah.
Like he's like the least pleasant of the main four by some distance, because he's really sort of single-minded and entitled to the fact that because he spent a lot of time with this girl, he should get to have sex with her.
Yeah, totally. And in fact,
He does
later on,
not come across well.
no, later on, Oz puts him in his place, and I actually really like it. I was like, yeah, too
Mm.
right. So yeah. And then just as that happens, we hear someone else go, "I am the Yeti!" again. Like, what is this fucking joke? Next morning, the boys for some reason have stayed over at Stifler's house, and they're all, lying on the floor. And then we see that Finch has joined them, and turns out, yeah, he was making a fashionably late entrance, and he was too late. There were no ladies left. Sure, Finch. That's why you got no ladies.
Yeah, you'd have been fine otherwise, mate.
Yep. And then they see that Sherman's coming downstairs with that chick, and he's saying goodbye to her, and he gives them a really corny smile when she leaves, and he comes over and gloats that he was banging her all night, and yeah, wishes them good luck, and then leaves. And at this point, they're really angry, and Oz is like, "Oh, how am I going to be this Mr. Sensitive?" And then, yeah, I guess that's when Kevin starts being all entitled to be like, "You know what, boys, we need to make a pact. We need to get laid before we graduate."
Also doesn't make any sense, right? This whole bit doesn't make any sense. How are they going to do the thing that they're already trying to do? There's no plan. We've made a pact that we're going to do it. It's like, didn't you already have that pact or that idea? And what?
I mean, Oz even says that, but then Kevin explains that oh no, we need to really egg each other on and really help each other and be there for each other. I was like, but again,
aren't you about nothing else?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, then they're like, okay, we're going to do this. And he makes a big rousing speech. It's like, oh, we're going to get laid. Oh, no, before that, there's a funny scene when they stop being a bit mildly racist and taking the piss out of dubbed Japanese movies like the Shaolin Masters of the East and West must unite, fight, and find out who is number one. Which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
Yeah, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to get laid. And then they're at that hot dog joint again. They fucking love that place. They keep going there. Should we get anything else?
Oh no, I love hot dog, mate.
I do as well. Actually, no, they say later on that Ozzy's dad's the manager, so I imagine they just get free hot dogs and shit whenever they go there. Yeah, they start laying down some ground rules, like there can't be any prostitutes, and I'm just like, what does it matter?
It's what he said is it has to be valid consensual sex, so no prostitutes. But that would be valid consensual sex. You paid for it, it's still consensual and it's still valid. What you should have said is don't rape anyone.
Yeah, if that's what you're thinking, Finch.
That's what you're thinking, Kevin.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, prom is our last chance. Well, not really. Prom tends to be a few weeks before you actually graduate. I guess they just see it as, oh, but prom is a chance where everyone's going to be drunk and want to do it. So that's our only chance of doing it. And yeah, then they realise that they've got 3 weeks between now and
prom.
Again,
very healthy. If you get a girl drunk, she'll have sex with you.
Well, yeah. It's not very wholesome, is it?
No.
Then we get the theme tune to Peep Show. Like,
yes, yeah. Such a weird montage, this.
Yeah, I've written this down. We get a montage of Kevin getting flowers, Finch playing mini golf, Jim setting up online dating, Oz watching textile shows, Vicky blanking Kevin, and them all getting Johnnies. Very strange.
You can really tell it's like the early days of internet dating as well, because that internet site looks fucking terrible. Like it is just text on a screen, and like
with a webcam.
Why? Yeah, and Kevin has a girlfriend, right? So it's going to be much easier for him, theoretically speaking.
But there is a scene later on with Jessica, which says, look, if you want to bang her, just say you love her, which technically he could. But he's like, well, no, I don't want to do that. So I was like, okay, at least that gives him some qualities. But yeah. But no, you're right. Out of all of them, he's got the best chance of banging his girlfriend. But I think that's why he was getting angry. Like, how did Sherman manage to do that? And I've been with Vicky all this time and she hasn't. Like, because she's not ready, mate. That's why.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
No means no. Actually, yeah, then we get that bit then. So Kevin's walking along with Jessica and getting advice. You say, look, if you want to, fuck her, then just say you love her. And he's like, well, no, I don't want to do that. And then he said, oh, well, you need to give her an orgasm. You've never done it. And he was like, oh, okay, great, thanks. And at this point, we see Stifler and he grabs Kevin and Jim and they show that Oz has joined a vocal jazz group. And yeah, you're quite right. John Cho's part of it. He's in the back singing along. And I completely forgot John Cho was part of the vocal jazz group.
I could have sworn he was meant to be the same character, but apparently not.
Bizarre. Yeah, one of them's a jock and one of them's a nice choir boy. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, and then Stifler gives Oz shit about joining the choir, and then Oz says, look, these chicks are really hot, and this is a good place to meet chicks. And then the girls, understandably, all question, hang on, why is this big jock joined us halfway through like our course or whatever? What's he doing here? And Emina Savari, who plays Heather, is like, oh no, we should give him a chance. He gives him a nice smile. And then Stifler keeps giving Oz shit. And he's like, look, this way I can be Mr. Sensitive. This is the way you get chicks. And Stifler says something like, I don't know, that sounds like a lot of work. Fucking prick.
Also, he's a fairly good singer.
Is it him, though? Because apparently it was Mina Savari singing. Was it actually Chris Klein singing that?
I don't know.
It might be, it might not be.
Yeah.
Let's Let's assume it is.
Well, it's the bit where he said she did her own singing. It's like, well, yeah, obviously. It's clearly her singing.
Yeah, it's not great.
No, no, it's not.
It's okay. It's passable.
It's fine.
Then we get a horribly, horribly awkward scene. And Eugene Levy makes this scene. So Jim's in his room, looking at those Johnnies he's bought. He's taken one out. He's examining it, throws it all in his drawer. And then Jim's father comes in. And he wants to give him a talk on sex. And he's bought him all these titty magazines and some really risque ones. And this just goes on for so long until Jim finally stops him. And if you look really closely, Jason Biggs is trying his hardest not to crack up laughing. And I heard this on the commentary years ago that he turned to one page and there was some really particularly disgusting sex act in the magazine, and he's just cracking up laughing, trying not to laugh. But Eugene Levy holds it together like an absolute pro. It's just it's a fucking riot. And then what tips Jim over the edge is when his dad asks, does he know what a clitoris is? He goes, oh my God, Jim, I know what a clitoris is. Well, oh, you do you, Jim? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you've been here before. It's funny. And then he's like, look, I'm just going to give you these books. They're not books to peruse at your leisure. You're giving your son porn.
I am fairly lucky that I never had any of those conversations with my dad of any kind. Nor would I have wanted one, and I'm glad I didn't have to have it.
But at 18, surely he would have assumed his son knows what sex is at 18. So the fact he came in to show him titty magazines and stuff is so bad. Anyway, he puts them in his drawer and he sees that there's the Johnny in it, and he picks it up and examines it. Like, oh, God's sake. Then he makes the remote safer than a tube sock. I'm like, well, yeah, I suppose it is. Oh God, I can't imagine anyone other. I mean, you speak part of your Smith trivia, so I won't spoil it. I can't imagine anyone other than Eugene Levy doing this. Just it's excellent. He's a great dad in this. He's very funny. Comedic timing's really good, and yeah, very good.
Kind of reinvigorated his career a little bit because he's been doing a lot of sort of improv and independent comedy stuff like Best in Show, and I know you've seen Best in Show. He's fucking brilliant in that film as well. That's a recommendation for people. Go watch Best in Show if you've never seen funny. Best in Show.
Yeah. Or stay tuned. Eugene Levy's in that. He's very funny.
He is.
Well.
He is. Yeah. I saw that for the first time recently. Yeah, he is in that.
And Splash. I forgot he was in Splash as well.
Yeah. Anyway, he's been in stuff since like the 80s. Like he's worked fairly consistently all the way through.
Yeah. But no, it's a very funny scene. It's a cringe scene, but it's a very funny scene. Then we cut to Finch is playing mini golf and asks Kevin to keep up the pretense that if anyone asks about any rumours, just to confirm they're true. And then right on cue, some girls come right up to Kevin and say, that's Paul Finch. He's got a massive dick, hasn't he? And at first Kevin's like, what? And he's like, oh, yeah, he does. And no, he doesn't have a date for the prom. You're all set, sort of thing.
I mean, his plan would come crumbling down the second anyone got his clothes off.
Well, yeah. Don't know.
I don't think anyone would be like, oh, right, well, I'm here now.
Lies. Oh, yeah, and then we also learned that Finch doesn't like to take a shit at school. He likes to go home for a dump. And he makes a very good point again. He's like, when was the last time you took a look at the facilities of this school? I was like, well, to be fair, if he only lives across the road from the school, let him go home for a dump. What's the big deal? Yeah. I would.
I mean, could you not just not dump? I mean...
Yeah, how often does this man need to shit?
Just go before school or after school. It's only, it's not... Yeah, it's not a piss. You can hold it. You can hold it for days. It's fine.
Anyway,
that's not medical. That's not medical advice, by the way. Just as I've said before, I'm not a doctor, so don't take anything I say as medical advice.
No, don't listen to any of Smith's medical advice, please.
Especially if I give it to you unsolicited in the pub at 1 a.m.
No, yeah, exactly.
Anyway, self-surgery is a fucking great idea, right? You're done, did you, Pinky? You're done.
I mean, as a man who broke his knuckle that connects his pinky, I can attest you, yes, you do. So anyway. Right, anyway, moving on. Then we cut to Kevin talking to his brother Casey Affleck on the phone, and he tells
I've forgotten he was in this.
Yeah, I did as well.
I've forgotten he was in it. I was like,
Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck.
He's in the second one as well, giving Kevin similar sort of advice as he did in the first one. And he tells him there is a book that's hidden in the school library for some reason, and it's essentially a sex manual, but people have been adding tidbits to it over the years, and it's passed down every year to a chosen one. He went, but then just gives it to Kevin. He's like, yeah, you've got to keep it a secret, not tell anyone. I was like, right, okay. And essentially it says how you can make your girlfriend come and how to have sex.
2 things. Three things. One, it comes into the film, it's used in one scene, it is never referred to again.
No.
2, I would not be taking the sex suggestions of 17 or 18-year-olds. Even
No.
compiled, it's just going to be compiled wrong. And 3, that thing would be caked in jizz.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Actually.
wouldn't want to touch that fucking book.
Get it out with tongs.
Well, I've got gonorrhea now.
Disgusting. Anyway, then we cut to Ozzy singing in the choir, and he's getting a bit too into it. And then Heather comes to talk to him afterwards. Is quite impressed. They have quite a nice scene. So
yeah, I thought this scene was quite nice, and it kind of gives them sort of good character development and gives them sort of a reason to connect beyond just the usual high school shenanigans. I'd also note that the whole problem in the previous scene with Stifler not understanding why he'd be in this sort of Glee club or this choir club, whatever it is like in a post Glee, in a post Pitch Perfect world, this wouldn't be seen as strange at all.
No, because you've got Zac Efron doing shit like this, you know.
Yeah, but this is not. This is now in this day and age, someone being in a singing group or being part of an amateur gymnastics class at school would not be seen as nerd stuff.
No,
completely different. I assume. I'm almost 40. I wouldn't know.
No, because that gets explored in 21 Jump Street when they go back, and they're like, I don't know who these people are anymore. So I think all the groups have changed. Yeah. And then Ozzy's quite interested in getting to know Heather and says, "Oh, I wish people wouldn't pigeonhole me being this jock." And she's like, "Oh, well, I wish people wouldn't pigeonhole me being a good girl," that sort of thing. So, okay, that's quite a nice scene.
She is though.
Yeah.
She never does anything to counteract that perception of her.
And then, oh god, we get to probably the one of two most infamous scenes of this movie. So Jim comes home to find an apple pie that his mum has baked, and presumably nobody's in the house. We get that porno music that we heard at the start. And first he decides to finger fuck it, which was bad enough in itself already. And then he starts looking at it. You just know what's coming. And then,
I'll tell you something. From his fingers coming out of that pie, there's a high cinnamon content in that pie.
It was a nice looking pie until he desecrated
it. Nice looking pie until he fucked it.
So the version you and I watched on Prime, he's fucking it standing up. So he's got, and I think it's actually funnier that way. So he's fucking it standing up, so you only see his ass. And in the unrated one, he's on like the island counter doing it. Well, anyway, Eugene Levy walks in, like, "Oh, Jim!"
I mean, it's a strange one, right? Because at once you can see it's done for comedic effect, but it just doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, and also go your room to do it.
Why would you fuck it? B, why would you fuck it in the kitchen? C, if you watch the unrated cut, why would you fuck it by climbing on the kitchen island and doing it up there? Someone's going to come home at some point, surely. Yeah. And then it cuts to him and his dad sitting there with the pie in front of him. Like, why would you keep it in the bin?
Why is it in the bin? It's not examining the remains of it.
Like post-mortem, like what an apple and cheese pie looks like.
He's like, "We'll just tell your mother we ate it." Oh, fucking hilarious. I mean, it's disgusting and it's stupid, it's illogical, but it was very funny. Oh dear. Anyway, I must say he's got a very understanding father for it. Every time Jim does stupid shit, he's always like still there for him or whatever, which is nice. Then we cut to Kevin reading the manual. Now, in the unrated version, there's more pictures in there, like explicit pictures. There's like pictures of like dildos and naked people and all this sort of stuff. So you only see brief things as he's going through it. But yeah, he's cluing up on how to give Vicky an orgasm. Good lad. Then we cut to lacrosse game.
How did he get the book in there? And into her bedroom, under the bed. Because then he pauses to have a read. He's like, hold on.
And there's like 2 lines. It's like, why did you need to read the book again?
Oh, I'm lost. Hold on.
Where's my go? Cool. Right, yeah. That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, lie down, Vicky. What are you doing? Nothing. No. I can hear pages turning. No, you can't.
What's that in your bag? Nothing that I'm sliding under your bed. Just don't ask questions, you.
Yeah, that made no sense. Then we cut to lacrosse game. Heather's come to watch Oz play. And then afterwards, she invites him to prom. And then Stifler comes over and starts trying to cock block her. And at first, Stifler gets angry with him. And he just says, "Why have you got to be so insensitive?" Which completely makes Stifler, lose his cool when he walk off. And then this bit, I really felt sorry for Heather in this. So they've had a nice moment. He's like, yeah, that sounds cool. I'd love to go to prom with you. That sounds really cool. And then as she walks away, she sees that Stifler's mocking her. He's pretending that he's riding her and like singing in a choir voice and that sort of thing. And she's getting all upset. And then, but Oz isn't doing it. But I guess Oz isn't stopping him either. And then he high fives him. I was like, right, that's why she got pissed about it. Because yeah, if he was like joining in, going, oh yeah, what's love, that sort of thing, then yeah, that would have made him a real shitbag. So he's only a partial shitbag, but yeah, still very insensitive. Then what? Then we get Kevin is apologising to Vicky. He says he can make it up to her, and then then we cut to said scene where Kevin's going down on her. And he's just got the book underneath her bed and reading it as he's doing it. And again, in the unrated version, there's more moaning from Vicky that's going on. At this point, Vicky's mother says to her husband, "Can you go tell Vicky that like supper's ready?" And he starts going up the stairs. And I remember seeing it at the cinema, being very agitated, like, oh no. This is everyone's nightmare, this happening. And then just as he's about to open the door, she shouts out, I'm coming. Like, oh, okay. And he goes back downstairs.
It's very funny.
But I often wondered, at what point did he say, I thought she said she was coming. Why is she coming downstairs? Like when it's 10 minutes later and the dinner's got cold. I worry about stuff like
that. That's your big problem.
Yeah. It was quite funny. I just love the way he goes as he's walking up the stairs. We cut to another hilarious bit with Eugene Levy. He's standing outside Jim's room admiring some really cringe-looking photo.
I love the way he opens the door and he's just standing there.
Oh, Jim, you're here.
Oh, Jim. That made me laugh so much. This is, oh, Jim. As if he's just happened upon him.
I'm just admiring this photo. That was a lovely day, wasn't it? Jim, I want to talk about masturbation. And again, Jim doesn't stop him. He's just there going, okay. He's just taking everything that his dad's saying. Oh, God. And he starts making an analogy like masturbating's like banging a tennis ball up against a brick wall, which can be fun, but it's not a game.
Yeah, it's not a game.
He's like, I did my fair bit of masturbating when I was a little younger. And he says, your Uncle Mort pitched a one-eyed steak 5-6 times a day. I wonder how much Eugene Levy ad-libbed this.
Well, apparently all of it. In the original script, his character was slightly more kind of like he just kept talking about his own sexual conquests and being a bit more skeezy.
Right,
so he didn't like it. So he was like, we could change it and just make him a sort of sweeter, nicer character.
Yeah, and then he says to Jim, like, what you want is a partner. Do you want a partner? Because you do want a partner. Oh, good. And pats him on the shoulder. Like, what are you insinuating? Like he's asexual or something? Like,
serial wanker.
Yeah. Then we get Jim's pervert on Nadia across the way at class, and then Kevin's telling the dudes about how he was going down on Vicky in class of all places, and then suddenly
this is the kind of thing where I just watched this and it's like I think this might be a fairly accurate portrayal of how some teenage boys talk, and I think it's why kind of even with the amount of sex chat that goes on, I don't really find it until we get to a certain point that exploitative, because it's probably how kids did talk. Except, I never did.
I don't know, you probably would brag if you had done something like that, but
maybe. I think given that we went to an all-boys school, kind of made it slightly trickier.
Did you? All right. Oh dear. But yeah, while they're talking about this, suddenly Michelle just looks around in horror. Who the fuck asked you? Mind your own business. And then Sherman starts being a prick, gloating again, saying, "Oh, I'm still chasing after the Holy Grail." And then we learn that Finch has gone home to take a shit. And then Kevin then says, "Look, I'm not sure where Finch is getting this new reputation from." He's like, "What reputation?" And then some girl called Courtney says that he's got some crazy tattoo with eagle fire on it or something. And these lies just keep happening.
Yeah. Again, the second someone sees him with those clothes on, that's all going to come crumbling down.
Yep, absolutely. And then this bit makes no sense, and we're going to go into a hugely problematic scene coming up. But for some reason, outside class, Nadia is waiting for Jim, and she wants him to help him with her history studies. And I'm like, where did that come from? Like, if there had been a scene earlier on where she was struggling with something or something, it comes completely out of left field.
Any suggestion that the two of them had a pre-existing relationship, but there isn't, like they'd even talked to each other before this point, which they hadn't done.
No, he just made an ass of himself at the party, and that's it. That's all he did. But suddenly now she's into him or whatever.
And I mean, she is throwing her all at that accent as well. I mean,
good God, it's awful. She's supposed to be Czech, isn't she? It's like, you ain't Czech. No way.
I lived with Czech people. You ain't Czech.
No, I don't know what she was supposed to be. But Jim says, "Oh, do you want to come by tomorrow?" And she goes, "Oh, I've got ballet practice, but maybe I can change at your house." And then suddenly you see Kevin and Oz like dancing in the background. But I'm like, why can't Nadia just get showered at the school or get changed at her own house and then come over to Jim? And why does she
Yeah.
need to study at Jim's house? Why can't they just go to
Also,
study hall together?
when she turns up, why is she not wearing anything that even looks remotely like she's been doing ballet?
Yeah, it's almost like she's got changed out of her ballet stuff into some normal clothes and then get changed again into more normal clothes. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
Or she was just doing ballet in jean shorts.
Perhaps. Or maybe
I'm not a
ballet got
ballet. No,
cancelled.
shoot, I'm not. I'm not a ballet dancer, so I don't know. Maybe you can do it in jean shorts.
Who
If you're a
knows?
ballet dancer, write in. Let us know.
Yeah, please do. Then we see Oz. He greets Heather at her car, and then Heather tells him, "Look, I don't want to go to prom with you. I saw you making fun of me, and you're just an arsehole." And
It's so lame. It's just like, so you making fun of your lacrosse buddies. It's like lacrosse buddies. It's so lame.
like,
She's always got the line, "You're not a jock. You're a jerk." It's like, oh, yes.
yeah, but she's a nice girl. She's not going to go, "You're a prick," are you? So,
Yeah, but just it's like she's clearly very pleased with that line. She clearly thought it up and was like, I'm gonna say that to him.
yeah. Well, he's dejected anyway. He's like, "Oh no, I had a chance with her, and now I don't." Then we cut to they're all in study hall for some reason, and Stifler's impressed that Nadia is coming to Jim's house, but he's appalled that she's not going to do anything about it. And then just out of nowhere, Jim goes, "What do you want me to do? Broadcast her on the internet?" It's like, now listen, mate, this is 1999. Internet was awful back then. Even downloading a titty picture would take about 10 minutes. What makes you think you're going to be able to live stream something from your room?
And what makes you think that everybody's gonna have the capability of watching that?
Yeah, it makes no sense what happens later, but yeah, we'll get to
And yeah, also, don't do that.
that. Yeah,
Because that is a crime.
yeah, because he's saying it like, "Oh, what do you want me to do? Do that? That's an awful thing to do." And Stifler's like, "Yeah, you can do that." And then suddenly Kevin turns around like, "Yeah, you should do that."
Yeah,
And then,
Kevin's a horrible character.
and then Stifler starts taking him on, go, "Grow some balls. If you haven't got the balls to photograph a naked chick, how are you going to sleep on?" And then Finch pipes up and goes, "I don't like the kid, Jim, but he's got a point." And I'm like, and then Kevin comes over and goes, "And I'll save you a seat at my house." I'm like, "Oh God, you guys are horrible. You've gone from being fairly likable dudes to
Yeah.
shitbags." At least Oz isn't in this scene. I'll give him that. Like Oz was
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of this
yeah.
plan. You know,
He's not. He doesn't watch the video at all, does he?
no, he's not part of it
No.
whatsoever.
Okay, that's
No, he's
good.
off practicing his choir stuff. Yeah, then we cut to choir practice, and then Heather's not singing great, and then she thinks that at that upcoming competition, it'd be better if she does a duet. And then Oz immediately volunteers, and the bloke next to him, Albert, goes, "Dick," like that. It really made me laugh for some reason. Fucking Albert. And then Heather's like, "Okay, well, if you want to do this, you better practice. You better not fake this." I was like, "Okay, yeah, fair point." And then we see Jim is setting up Nadia Vision with his shitty web camera in his room, and he's sending the link. It says Kevin.
Tiny little low res video.
Yeah, it says Kevin and Stifler. I can't remember if there was one. I think it's just literally Kevin and Stifler who he ticks and then clicks send, right? So what happens next makes no sense. Like, what are you talking about? That wouldn't happen. But anyway, just spoil it before we go on this. This is horrible, this scene.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Absolutely horrible. We don't condone this whatsoever. It's not funny. It's just nasty. I don't know
This is the bit where the film takes a really fucking nasty turn, where up until this point, it's been fairly gentle. I mean, the women characters have characters. They have character arcs. They have motivations. They have a positive impact on the male characters around them for the most part. They have agency and often the upper hand in every interaction they have. This takes a turn into leery, unpleasant voyeurism in a way that's completely unnecessary. It's almost, and I mean, watching this, you could cut this entire sequence out.
Yep.
Lose nothing from the film whatsoever, and in fact, probably make it better if you just edited this 5 minutes out.
Or
got rid of it.
If you just had what Nadia does in his room and he walks in on her and it's all awkward and she goes, "Oh no, don't go," then that could have been fine. But the fact that he's broadcasting it to his friends is like, yeah, no. Yeah,
so I think you could, if you were being generous, say the bit after at the end of the sequence sort of puts the power back in Nadia's hands and makes him look ridiculous. But it's a bit too little, too late. I think you've already sort of, and it's also leaning into that like that kind of Euro girl fantasy trope that was kind of prevalent in American cinema. It's like, oh, she's from Europe, ergo she must be highly sexualized, and willing to sleep with a dork for no reason, just because. And I think, I was talking with my other half about this, and she was saying that the kind of the damaging thing that this did was sort of make this kind of behavior normal.
Yeah.
and normalized it and put it out into the world, to say this kind of behavior is fine and it's something to be laughed about, and
Well,
not
it's
in any
revenge
way.
porn, isn't it? This has happened so many times. People have put secret cameras and shit, photographed chicks, and then just sent it off to people. It's
The thing is,
revenge porn.
at the time it was made. I mean, this, you would say, now this would be a crime. It's actually, legislated a crime, and it's something you can go to prison for. At the time, with the internet being so nascent, to the point where this wouldn't even have been possible with the technology they had to do what they're doing here. It probably wasn't a crime.
Yeah.
But it's aged so badly.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
there's no getting around it. Let's just talk about what happens. So, Jim's father brings Nadia in, says, "Oh, there's a nice girl to come see you. Are you ready to study?" And mildly embarrasses Jim and goes, "Oh, yep, I'll leave you to it." And then Jim's like, "Oh, yeah, just get unchanged and I'll be downstairs." And then, runs frantically over to Kevin's house, who's sitting there with Finch, and they're drinking beers. I'm like, "Oh, Jesus." And then Stifler's watching it on his brother's computer, and his brother's getting really agitated.
The bit where he shoved his brother over is quite funny.
Yeah, that is funny. That is funny. And then Nadia gets undressed. You see her tits. She starts inspecting her stomach and all sorts of stuff, and they're all like, "Whoa, whoa!" And then
also, this just wouldn't happen, right? I don't think from a logic perspective, is she really going to strip down and walk around naked and start perusing his stuff? I don't think so.
No, it's just a teen boy's fantasy, isn't it? What happens? It's just total bullshit. Finch says, "God bless the internet," and then suddenly Stifler's brother's really happy that now he's seeing a naked girl. And then, as you just said, Nadia starts going through Jim's stuff and finds his titty magazines that his dad gave him, starts looking through one, and then just starts flicking her bean. I'm like, what? Why? Why would she start doing that? It just... And in the unrated one, she's doing it a lot more, and there's a lot more moaning and that sort of thing. And then Kevin, the shitbag that he is, says, "Oh, go back to the house now and ask if she needs an extra hand." Right. So let's just suspension of disbelief. Let's just say Nadia was going through his drawers, thought, "I'll have a bit of a play and then I'll come downstairs," right? In reality, when the minute Jim walked in, she would have slapped him and gone mental and just left and called the police, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why does he think this plan is going to work? Why does Kevin and Finch think this plan is going to work?
And the worst bit is that it does work, which really...
Yeah. Yeah. And what was it? Finch says, "Seduce her." And the way he says it, I was like, "No, dude, that's really creepy. I don't like that." Oh, yeah. Well, as Jim's running frantic back to his house, Sherman then calls Kevin, and this bit makes no sense. He says that Jim sent the email wrong, and it's gone out to everyone in this directory with this live stream. How? How exactly? You clearly saw him just click 3 people's email. How has it gone out to every single person's email? And also, why is everybody at their laptops and PCs at this time of the day?
Logged on to and accessing the live stream. No, it doesn't make any sense. You've got Sherman, you've got Stifler, you've got Kevin, you've got that group of random weirdo, you've got Blink-182.
Yeah, Blink-182. Yeah, that's right. On cue, we get Blink-182 and their monkeys start looking at footage on their computer while they're practicing band. It's like, which one is it? Are you practicing the band, or you looking at your computer? And then, got some brace ugly kid, and then Jim's praying outside, hoping this will work. And then he comes in, and then Nadia first is a bit like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she's, "Oh, well, I've seen you. You've seen me. Now I need to see you." So she makes him strip. I was like, "Oh, God, no." And she puts on some dance music and starts making him strip. So I guess this is almost like the comeuppance. She's making Jim like a real fool.
Yeah, this is the comeuppance. And as I said, if you were being generous, you could say that sort of corrects that what's happened, but it doesn't.
No,
you'd have to completely ignore the leery, unpleasant scene that's just gone before it. I was deeply uncomfortable watching that scene.
Yeah, I was.
Deeply
it goes on for way too long as well. Yeah. He throws his shirt over the web camera so no one can see, but then it soon falls off. Oh yeah, and also his mates want to watch him fucking Nadia. It's just so weird. Like, why do you want to watch this? Yeah. It's one thing to lure at naked women. Why do you want to watch your mate banging a girl? It makes no sense. And it's
no, it doesn't. Yeah,
horrible. And this bit is quite funny as he's dancing. Stifler's brother's dancing. He's like, "Get out, man!" And it just like throws him down. And then we see some chicks, for some reason, they're watching it as well. They're all laughing. For some reason, they've set up like a couch party with snacks and drinks, and they're watching it as well. And then, Nadia invites him to sit next to her, and she starts guiding around towards her vaginal region, and then he jizzes in his pants. I was like, okay, right.
Yeah.
she goes to leave. Jim says, no, he's got reserves, and then starts showing her titty mags. And then for some reason that seems to work. And then she takes her pants off and then guides his hand to do it again. And then he jizzes in his pants again. And then everyone who's watching it's just like, oh my God, you blew it. Oh, you idiot, you fucking loser, or that sort of thing. So yeah, that was deeply, deeply uncomfortable watching that.
Yeah, deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then I suppose this is also.
I was just having to hear you say vaginal region.
I was trying to be careful what I'm saying. There is no good word. If I said, the JJ or whatever else.
No, just leave it. Just skip on.
Anyway. So school the next day, and everyone's laughing their ass off at Jim as he's walking into school because 200 people have been watching the live stream, apparently.
Yeah. Nadia's written out of the film. Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. She's gone. You'll see her very briefly at the end, but until then, that's her gone.
Yeah, we're told that her sponsor saw the video and she's been sent home as a punishment. It's like, why is she the victim being punished for this?
Yeah. Why are you not in a jail cell?
Yeah. What an arsehole. Yeah, let's move on from this disgusting filth. Anyway,
yeah.
So Heather sees Oz practicing that song alone and she seems happy. And then we cut to the classroom scene and Jim's all sad that Nadia's not there anymore. And then just immediately we cut to Alison Hannigan, Michelle. She's boring Jim to death about band camp, which is where there's one time at band camp comes from. And she has no idea what Jim's upset about. It's like, hang on a minute. Does she just talk to random people who are sat next to her? Like, at what point have you introduced their interaction whatsoever? It just completely comes out of nowhere. She's been gone for half the film and then she pops back up for the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. So she doesn't know what he's upset about, and then he invites her to prom, and then she starts going on about band camp again. So yeah, that's that. Heather comes to see Oz at that hot dog joint, and he says, "Oh yeah, my father's the manager." Mm-hmm. And then there's quite a nice scene when they're talking about their education and their futures.
I don't think it was the hot dog joint. I thought it was a sandwich shop. I thought it was a completely different shop. As you said this earlier, that his dad was the manager of the hot dog shop. I didn't think he was. Because I think she said something about it being. I'm sure she said something about it being subs, like sub sandwiches. I'm sure it's a sandwich shop.
Oh, okay.
It looks different as well. I don't think it is the hot dog place. I think it's somewhere different.
Well, when he asked if she want onions, I just assumed it was onions for the hot dog. So, okay. Well, anyway. I'm sure she said them. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Oz is working in some sort of fast food place because his dad's the manager. And they're discussing their education, their futures, and all that sort of stuff. It's quite a nice scene. And during this scene, our favourite sponsors, Mountain Dew, are back.
Mountain Dew right there.
Yep. Then we cut to Stifler's being rejected by some chick for the prom. She says, I'm waiting for Paul Finch to ask me. He goes, I'm sorry that the scars hasn't healed properly. Kevin's like, what's all that about? And he asks the girl, what's all that about? She said, oh yeah, Paul Finch kicked Stifler's ass. She went, well, who told you that? Then we cut to Jessica. Jessica's been behind all these lies after all. So turns out that Finch gave her $200, which is quite a hefty amount of money for 1999, to spread some good rumors about him, that he's dynamite in bed, he kicked Finch's ass, he done this, he done that, and that's why suddenly he's got this great reputation.
She's the best written female character in the film.
Yeah, in the sequels, her character's completely pointless. Like, why are you here? Whereas in this one, she kind of guides the plot along, doesn't she? She's kind of the voice of reason, giving advice to everyone and all that sort of thing. So then Oz is singing in the showers for that song that he's do the vocal jazz competition. And Stifler makes a really horrible homophobic remark towards him. I'm like, oh, God, Stifler, you're the fucking worst. And then he says something like, oh, if you pull that shit at the lacrosse game on Saturday, I'll kick your ass. And then Oz is like, oh, no, the game's this Saturday. He's like, why wouldn't you know this before? Probably your games take place every Saturday, right? Or
now, I was certainly going to say, how could you possibly forget something so obvious? But I have form in that regard. So
you even forgot we were recording tonight.
I did. I've forgotten various things. I've forgotten weddings that I was supposed to be at. It's not.
All right, fair enough. Maybe Oz has been hit in the head so much from lacrosse he doesn't remember shit. Anyway,
that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
Yep. So then Oz tells Heather that he can't sing at the competition because of the game, and she seems to understand, but she's naturally sad. Then Stifler tells Kevin that he's put laxatives in Finch's mochaccino as revenge for telling him that he kicked his ass. I'm like, oh, Stifler. And then, we get Finch running for his life needing a dump. And I've written, I feel this man's pain. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Very good. The one thing I took away from this when Finch says, why is his shirt so dirty? His T-shirt was really grimy. It was like, ugh.
Don't know.
Wash.
I noticed that. But then someone makes a remark earlier on in the movie. I think Kevin says to Jim, "You've worn that shirt like 3 days in a row." I'm like, ugh, scumbags. Don't your mothers do your washing for you?
Anyway. I sometimes wear the same jumper one day, like 2 or 3 days in a row.
I think a jumper's all right as long as you've got like a t-shirt or a shirt underneath. But yeah.
Oh, I do.
I'm sure of it. Anyway, Stifler guides him into a toilet, but alas, it's the girls' toilet. Oh no! Finch is putting loads of bog paper on the seat. He's like, yes, I do that too. It's just, makes sense. And just as he's about to lay a cable, some chicks come in, and conveniently, they're talking about Finch. Why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't they be talking about anything else? They've all come into the toilet to talk about him, and hopefully he'll invite them out to the prom. And then one of them drops the nugget of, I heard he shagged Stifler's mum once. Like, wonder if this will come back. And then Finch has a massively noisy dump. And for some reason, the girls scream and run away.
I've been there. I've evacuated whole floors before. With the noise more than anything else, it's the violence of it that I think frightens people. The sheer terror.
I mean, I don't find it terror. I find it hilarious. If I'm ever having a dump and I hear someone next door and they're like suffering, it's amazing. So much fun.
Yeah, but then you stay in the cubicle trying not to laugh out loud. So you just kind of like,
oh, I laugh. I don't care. But then I'll stay there for a while so they won't know it was me who was laughing. Anyway, sorry. So they're outside the blog. Sorry, go on.
Everybody shits, mate. Everybody shits.
They do.
There's a book about it.
I'm sure there are many books about it. Anyway, right. So outside the bog, suddenly Finch comes out and he looks really happy, like he's just sort of jovially walking out. And Stifler has managed to gather many people who all start pointing and laughing at Finch. Like, what have you told everyone? Finch is having a shit, or maybe he's like, oh, he's having a shit in the girls' toilet. Like, haha, what an idiot, that sort of thing. I don't know. But yeah, everyone's pointing at him. What, had a shit in the girls' toilet?
Yeah. I'll tell you later.
yeah, please. Don't upset our viewers. Anyway, we cut to Vicky's room and she tells Kevin that she loves him and he doesn't say it back because he thought she was talking about sex. And then she's like, oh, it's always about sex with you. Yes, it is.
Yeah, with him, he's an unpleasant character. Did you see as well the picture of the two of them? They're just like poking out from behind a tree. Like, what the fuck is that picture? Who took it?
There's so many awkward photos.
Could you get a picture of us just hanging out by this tree?
But you remember that scene earlier we were laughing about with Jim and his dad? It was, I'm just admiring the family portrait. Apparently that photo was taken that day. So they took that awkward photo and then they did that scene together. So maybe they did the same thing with Kevin and Vicky. I don't know. But he says, no, look, love is a term that gets thrown around. And when I say it, I want it to be perfect. And Vicky kind of understands because she wants the sex to be perfect. Then because Oz can't do the duet, that dickhead Albert's going to do it, and she's not happy about it. And he's doing this warm-up thing. He's going, Bumblebee, Bumblebee, Bumblebee. Absolute douche. Went through a cross game, and Oz is sad. And then during the half time, the coach gives them all like a pep talk.
The assistant coach is fucking hilarious.
I read down, he keeps going, till you score, culmination.
Culmination.
It's really funny.
Yeah, I don't know why. It really tickled me, that did.
But I'm not sure it was supposed to be funny. It just was. Yeah, I found it funny as well. And then Oz stands up, and then the coach is like, you got somewhere better than me. He's like, yeah, I do, actually. And then just runs off. And then Kevin and Jim are watching this game, but shortly after, they then arrive at the vocal jazz competition. So presumably they put two and two together, like, oh, yeah, he's going there instead. And then Oz arrives, and then he tells Heather that he's missing the game for her. It's like, oh, and then they make out. And then someone goes, no, then Albert goes, does this mean I'm not going to do the duet? And someone goes, Albert, you suck. Fuck Albert. Yeah, they're singing at the competition, and assuming that is Chris Klein.
Where Chris Klein was running to the thing, he's got the goofiest fucking run. He's like,
because he's wearing lacrosse shoes.
Arms. I don't care.
I don't know if you spotted this. For some reason, they've got a suit that fits him just there. But if you look down at his feet, he's still wearing his lacrosse shoes. So you had a suit for him, but you didn't have some shoes for him.
But it's also like, oh, I'm missing the game for you. Like, you played the first half.
Yeah, if it really meant a lot to you, you just would have missed it. But yeah. And then they sing really well at the competition together. And then Kevin and Jim are there. There's like, yeah, Oz, you fucking rule. So I really shouldn't be doing that. They're a children present. Vicky and Jessica are talking about sex in the study hall. They're in the study hall an awful lot. When we were at school, they never made us go to the study hall.
We didn't have a study hall.
Yeah, there was like the career library or something, but nobody ever went to it. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Ran in there.
Yeah, there was like one.
Oh, I don't. Sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was going to say this is the bit where she says, "Oh, I don't want to go to university, have sex with some random jerk." He's like, "Well, yeah, just have sex with a known jerk."
Yeah, and you're probably only going to have
He's a-
sex with him once, and then just what does it matter? Anyway, but yeah, so she's all like, oh, you know, if I do it with him, it'd be perfect and all that. And then Jessica's like, oh, look, whatever, just have sex with him. Just shut the fuck up. I'm fed up of hearing about this type of thing, whatever. Then they're in class and Vicky says, like, I want to have sex. And Kevin goes, no, like that. He's like, no, at prom. But why prom? Why prom? What difference does it make? Why don't you just go, yeah, come around tonight, innit?
Yeah, in a bed, not at prom, in the bed in someone's house or in the toilets
Disgusting.
at prom.
Yeah. Then we get another one of those weird montages. The boys are getting their suits at the tailors. Finch is all sad by himself. Vicky's getting ready by herself, and then Kevin's putting Johnny's in his pocket.
Well, yeah, he puts it in the top pocket of his suit. I was like, don't do that.
Classy.
You're gonna be able to see that through the shirt.
Yeah, what if you bend over to tie your shoe and it falls out or something? That's well embarrassing. Anyway, Jim's father starts giving Jim a pep talk. He has quite a nice moment with him, and he tells him just to be careful when you put your Johnny on. Basically, that's what I took from that. They get to the prom. It looks lame. It looks proper lame. I mean, you never went to our
singers. No, I
never went.
I didn't. No.
Our sixth form ball was better than that. That was fucking lame. But our sixth form ball was shit. But yeah, it looks lame. It's like an Arabian Nights theme or something. It looks awful.
The singer was hilarious.
Why was he hilarious? Just because he couldn't sing.
The way he was funny, like, just the way he was singing, like, "May not have your ways."
Yeah, it was awful. Finch has no date. Poor Finch. And then everyone starts slow dancing, including that knob Sherman. He's managed to go there with that chick who he apparently banged earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I thought was pretty cool. Jessica's just like, whatever. She's just walking on, listening to her walk. And she's like, oh, I don't care about any of this crap. I'm just here because I'm here with my friends. And then this is a really good scene because Kevin checks in with all the guys about their sex quest and he starts being really cocky. And Oz just says to him, like, what's your problem? Why have you got such an attitude? I was like, yeah, actually, Kevin, why have you got such an attitude? Like, does it matter if they don't have sex and you do? It doesn't matter at all.
There's two problems with this scene. In the points they make and the argument they have with Jim and Oz having a go at him are valid.
Yeah.
But it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then it's literally resolved 1
Yeah.
minute later.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're fine.
They've had a change of heart immediately.
They were like, we need to put some jeopardy into the third act. No, not a lot of jeopardy, though.
Yeah, crisis of confidence, but easily resolved. Yeah, and then Finch is like, oh, well, at least you taught me to have a shit at school, which I thought was quite funny. And then Jessica asks him for a dance, and she says, look, I'm sorry about taking your money. Here's a hip flask, as a consolation prize. Well, that's nice. That's nice. Then we get Vicky and Sherman's date talking, and Vicky's like, oh, yeah, you two had sex, isn't it? And she was like, what? And then Kevin's outside throwing coins into a cup for some reason, all dejected.
That's what I do when I'm feeling low. Take a bunch of coins in a cup and I go sit on the stoop.
As you do. And then the band go, we're going to take a break. I was like, look, why don't you just hire a DJ? Then you don't need to take a break. You can just have continuous music play. But anyway, and the band goes, we're going to take a break. So it goes, you suck. Which I thought was funny. And then Sherman's day gets on the mic. And this is actually quite a horrible thing she does. It isn't. She humiliates Sherman. She says, look, he's lying. He said we had sex. We never had sex. He once tried to screw a grapefruit, but that's it. And when he gets really nervous, he sometimes wets his pants. And then right on cue, he pisses himself in front of everyone. I was like, how is what Sherman did any different from Finch? Finch had a bunch of lies spread about him. So what? Oh, I guess they were lies about himself, not about other people. Yeah,
this is a lie about a specific person. And I think fair play to her. If someone goes around spreading rumors that you had sex with them and you didn't, they got it coming.
Yep. So he pissed himself. And yet the lads suddenly have all had a change of attitude and they come to see Kevin outside. They're like, oh, don't worry about saying you love her to Vicky. It's fine. And then they're like, the buses to Stifler's house could be. It's like, buses? First of all, who's driving these buses? How big are these buses?
Who's paid for these buses?
Who's paid for these buses? Like, what universe do people need buses to go to your house? And then I think that's when I was like, oh, it must be a different house thing, because otherwise they just all would have walked there, presumably. And then they say, oh, look, Sherman never had sex anyway. He pissed himself. And then, Finch even makes the remark, like, we were friends with Stifler. I was like, well, you certainly weren't. But yeah, they're all using Stifler to go to his awesome parties.
Yeah, as you would.
Yep. Finally, we see Michelle. Again, she's been absent for a lot of the film. And she asks why Jim doesn't have any stories. And he starts telling her about the Jizzy Beer story, which seems to take him about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I realised about an hour later, he's still going on about it. It's a very short story. Stifler drank some Jizzy Beer, then chucked up a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Story. I thought he was going to tell her the pie story, but at least he was sensible enough not to lead with that.
No, exactly. And then Vicky and Kevin go into someone's room, again, who's at Stifler's house. He goes, oh, this is perfect. It's the nicest house in the room. I've put, seriously, how many rooms?
Also, someone else's house.
Disgusting.
Dirty bastards.
And then Stifler's brother emerges from the wardrobe. He goes, "You guys are going to fuck, aren't you? Fuck us, fuck us, fuck us." Starts jumping on the sofa. And he wants to stay and watch.
So apparently, in the original draft of the script, that it was revealed that he did stay and watch in the cupboard, but they were like, "Nah,
No,
that's weird," and they
that's
cut it
really
out.
weird.
They didn't even
Good.
film it. They were like, "No, it's weird." It's like,
Good.
yeah, that is weird. Don't film that.
Proper weird. Oz and Heather go for a walk somewhere, like presumably Stifler's garden, and tells Heather about the pact really badly initially, and then says it doesn't matter because I just like being with you and fuck the pact basically. And then she calls him Oz, and then says she's his girlfriend. Like, oh, that's sweet.
Oh. Bang outside.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't the best way of
mosquitoes.
It's not the best way to proposition me, but I'll still do it.
It's not the best way to proposition me, but it's working.
Yeah. And then Finch goes to a room that clearly says, "Please keep out," but he goes in anyway.
That's the kind of shit I'd do, though, immediately. Oh,
don't push this button. Here? Oh, okay.
But what do I push the button?
Yeah. And we meet Stifler's mum, and we get sexy jazz music, like we've explored in other movies, because, a lady's not sexy unless there's jazz music. And I've put here, she's 37 years old. She's younger than we are now in this movie.
Yeah, she's only like, 14 years older than Stifler, the guy who played Stifler. She was,
crazy.
That's crazy. It's also that she. Well, it's funny when it's like, in Philly, like, oh, it's a MILF. It's like she's 37. It's like all of my friends' mums when I was 18 were like 50 odd.
Yeah, exactly. She must have had him proper young, like she was 20 or something.
And she, well, it would have been 19. And it's funny how she can be in one scene. She's really only in like.
That scene,
this
that's
sequence,
it. That in the picture, that's it.
Yeah, and she sort of just kind of stepped into the zeitgeist and the cultural zeitgeist of being Stifler's mum, being this whole thing. Like it's a known thing.
Bizarre because of this one scene. Yep. And then Finch is like flirting with her and stuff, and then says, "Oh look, I don't want any beer. Have you got any scotch?" He goes, "Yeah, I've got some single malt, aged 18 years, the way I've like it." And I've written down nonce.
Yeah, nonce fives. Strong nonce fives coming up.
God, it doesn't matter if he's 18 and it's legal. It's just fucking weird. Oh, no. She is hot, but no. Like, get a funny scene. Stifler's talking to people. He's like examining his beer, making sure there's no cum in it. And then Jim has finally finished his Jizzy Beer story that we've said around. How long did it take him to tell this story? And then Michelle starts telling a story about how she played Spin the Bottle. And then we get a very unnecessary scene of Kevin and Vicky in bed saying what position they're going to have sex with. Stuff doesn't really matter.
Normal.
That works for me. And then Vicky. We can have sex. Normal. Yes, but let's not. Okay.
I like normal and with the lights out.
And my clothes on. And then...
and you get in your bed and I'll get in mine.
And then Vicky wants Kevin to say that he loves her, and then he tells her, and supposedly means it. And then we then cut to, for some reason, Oz and Heather are making out on a blow-up mattress. Where did that come from? On the dock. And that's in the cut with Kevin and Vicky making sex. And then Oz and Heather...
That's a hell of a turn, Frank.
Oh no, I'm doing this on purpose, sorry.
Making sex.
Yeah. And then Michelle's finished telling that stupid story, and then out of nowhere she just says, "This one time at band camp, I stuck a flute in my pussy." And the first time I saw it, I did legitimately laugh out loud because it's so unexpected the way she comes out with it. And then Jim Loss spits his beer in. We're like, what the fuck?
The bit that made me laugh was not him spitting his beer out. It was the little just before he does it, like he has only like he's listened. And registered it a second later.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And then she wants to go to sex. Wants to go have sex.
Go to make sex.
Let's go to make sex. And then presumably it's Stifler's brother's room they go because there's like a blow-up dinosaur in there and shit.
Where's Stifler's brother in all this?
Hiding in other cupboards, looking at people making sex. I don't know. And then there's a really funny bit. Jim jumps on the bed and bounces off, and he lands on a toy.
Yeah.
And then Michelle's brought desensitized Johnny, so Jim doesn't blow his load early. He's like, "What makes you think that?" She goes, "Oh, no, I saw you on the net, but you're a sure thing." I was like, "Well, he's not, is he? Because he blew his load in like a minute." So anyway, Finch starts flirting with Stifler's mum some more and says she's hot, and then they have it off on the pool table. But luckily, we don't see it. I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to see that. That's weird."
Well, the reason we didn't see it is because the guy who played Finch was only 17 at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So they couldn't show it.
Yeah. We get lots more montages of teenage sex with couples, which I didn't really want to see. More off-screen sex with Finch and Stifler's mum. Michelle's having violent sex with Jim's like, say my name, bitch, and like smashing things on him.
Apparently that line was ad-libbed, and they kept it in.
It's funny. It's funny. Next morning, there's bodies everywhere, which is weird because the last party, the only bodies on the floor were the four lads. But yeah.
Yeah, but they're out of town, so.
Ah, there you go. Also, Heather are naked on a dock with a picnic blanket for some reason.
Also, I just wrote down ruin that chair.
Completely. And then this bit, it makes sense, but it's a little frustrating. Vicky breaks up with Kevin because she realizes that their long distance uni relationship's not going to work. And then Vicky says, "Oh, I wasn't lying when I told you that I loved you." I was like, "Why didn't you just break up with him before and save the shit? You kind of used him just like he used you." It's just like, all right, whatever. Who cares?
Jim, the least interesting and least relatable characters in the whole film, the pair of them.
Yeah, especially in the sequels. There's no need for them in the sequels at all. Jim wakes up to find out Michelle was left and she's used him, but he doesn't care. And then Stifler breaks into that room and finds that Finch and his mum are together and then faints. And then once again, they're at that bloody hot dog joint and the lads are all happy. And Oz says that him and Heather are falling in love, which is nice. And they all toast to the next step. And he doesn't divulge whether they had sex or not. Good for you, Oz.
Yeah,
just get that to yourself. Yeah.
It was a nice character moment. That he had the best arc of all the characters throughout the film.
Definitely.
It really is well written.
Yeah. And then this doesn't even make sense. Back in Jim's room, he's video calling Nadia. Why? Why is she entertaining having anything to do with him after what he's done? He's ruined her education. He's embarrassed her, sent her back home, and she's quite open to doing all that silly shit again.
Because it's the fantasy of the hot Euro girl who doesn't care.
Stupid. So yeah, he's dancing naked again, and then Jim's dad walks in and looks horrified at first, and then walks off and just starts dancing, and he goes, "Sweetheart," and then credits. So yeah, that was American Pie.
It was.
It was. So, I mean, it's going to come out as a surprise, isn't it? What do we love about it back then? When we were juvenile 15-year-old kids, what do we love about it?
I just, it spoke to a 15-year-old boy's sense of humor. What a 15-year-old boy wanted to see in a film. It spoke to the kind of the current culture. The music was sort of up to date. It just sort of reflected, if not the life that you had, the sort of, not even life you wanted to have, but it was a Porky's for our generation.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And you know what? It's a inverted commas gross out movie, but it's not. There's very little gross out in it. So it's tactfully done, I think.
It straddles the line, I think, between what came before it and what came after. So if you take this and compare it to something like Porky's, it's a lot kinder hearted. It's a lot less leery throughout. Now, we've always discussed the problematic bit. The women have roles. They're not just sexual objects. They are sexual objects, but they also treat the men like sexual objects. So there is a and each character learns and grows somewhat throughout the course of the film, in some way or another. So if you compare it to something like Porky's, it's obviously better and sweeter and sort of less problematic than that. If you compare it to what came after, which sort of doubled down on the gross out elements, the gross out comedy, let's throw more jizz at the screen, let's do this, let's do that, then it's not quite as objectionable as those either. It's sort of it's almost like this did really well and they took the wrong lessons and went, oh, you know what they want is we want more gross out, we want more weird humor. I mean, some of the ones did well. I recall Road Trip being quite good. I would have to go back and watch it again.
But it's more gross than this one is.
It is more gross than this one. Yeah, it is absolutely that. So it's not really the film. It's not quite the film you think it's going to be. It's also it's obsessed with sex. Like it is all they talk about throughout the entire film. But then again, the teenage boys and girls in that situation, is that not what they talked quite a lot about?
Exactly. As much as I hate it, that's all they talk about in the In-Betweeners as well. That's just a topic of young men. They're just obsessed with it. But I liked it back then because it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. It was like, and I was 15, so I wasn't sneaking into a movie. I was able to go and watch it properly and laughed my ass off. I thought it was very funny. It was just a nice sort of coming of age story, I thought. I don't recall hating anything about it, but I might have thought Stifler was annoying the piss out of me, maybe, but then he's supposed to, isn't he?
No, I wouldn't have hated anything about it then.
Yeah.
It would have been very much my type of thing.
Yeah. And I think watching it 25 years later, apart from the problematic scenes we talked about, there's very little I hate about it now. Stifler's still annoying. Yeah, that scene with the, what's it called? The live stream's horrible. But apart from that, yeah, the feelings I felt watching it as a kid or a young man, I still feel now. I was like, yeah, there are some things we've gone back on. Oh no. Well, that was like, no, yeah, this is still entertaining.
It is nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be misogynistic. I thought it was going to be leery, and I know I've used that word a lot. And I thought it was going to be really hard to watch. Now, that scene in the middle is really fucking problematic, and it really sort of casts an unfortunate shadow over the rest of the film.
Yeah,
and that's. And we'll come to whether or not it holds up, but that really makes it tricky.
Yeah, okay.
Because you cut that movie out. You cut that scene out. Not only would I say that this held up, but I'd be actively recommending people go and watch it. With that in there, but we'll come back to that.
We'll come to it. Well, let's take a break. So Smith trivia, what you got?
Smith trivia, right? So on a budget of 11 million, it made $235 million.
Astounding.
Weirdly, American Pie Reunion, the fourth one, which I've never seen, made somewhere in the same region and was considered a flop, but I guess you adjust for inflation. It was the 11th largest film of the year that it was released, but it came out in a year where there were some absolute bangers and some absolute shit, but absolute shit with a legacy behind it. So the top film of the year will come as no surprise when it was The Phantom Menace. It comes out the same year as The Phantom Menace. You also got above it Tarzan, The Matrix, The Blair Witch Project, Toy Story 2, The Sixth Sense, and American Beauty, which also starred Mina Safari and John Cho. Now it sits above Wild Wild West, but also some great films: The Mummy, Deep Blue Sea, Sleepy Hollow, House on Haunted Hill, which I've got a real soft spot for, and a bunch of other stuff like Go, for example, which I mentioned earlier. It was originally meant to be released in February, but was moved to later in the year when test audiences suggested that it was really popular and they thought they could make a bit of money out of it. Eugene Levy was actually filming a independent film at the same time called American Pie, and when this got changed its name to American Pie, they had to change the name of that to, I think it's called The Secret Life of Girls, I believe is the film that it got changed to. That was originally going to be called American Pie. So Selma Blair was offered any one of the female roles that she wanted and turned it down, which she later came to regret. Bill Murray was considered originally for the role of the dad. Now,
I can see it.
But I also don't buy it. Like, it's one of those things he was considered. Yeah, well, you consider anything. I could consider, eating a whole steak in 5 minutes' time, but I ain't going to do it. I ain't got any steak. Whether or not he'd have done it, So as I said, Eugene Levy did ad-lib most of his dialogue. What else have I got here? Yeah, there was a guy called I think Nick Cray, I think I've got it written down, who found a pirated copy of it when it still was under one of its original titles. There's a number of different titles that it was called before it came out. I don't have them written down, but I think I can actually look just to see. Right, yes, the original title was called Untitled Teenage Sex Comedy that can be made for under $10 million, which studio readers will hate, but I think you will love.
That's
how it was submitted. Then it was later changed to East Grand Rapids High, East Great Falls High, Great Falls, and finally American Pie. Great Falls, what was released as that, I believe it was. This guy found a work print of it, pirated it, and showed it to all his friends. Liked it so much, he created a dedicated website to the film, and rather than getting sued, he got invited to the premiere and given a small role in American Pie 2, where he cut out, but at the time it acted as free publicity. It was before the internet was widespread enough to cause any damage, because he couldn't stream it to anyone because it couldn't put it on the internet. He could just show it to his friends, and then sort of bigged up the film before it came out and really helped the release.
That's awesome.
Sean William Scott based Stifler on 8 guys from school that he hated. He rang them all up, spoke to them, and nicked various bits of their personalities to create the character.
Okay.
Shannon Elizabeth blames the producers for ruining her accent. Apparently, she worked quite extensively with the dialect coach to get the Czech accent right, and in ADR recording sessions was asked to tone it up or tone it down depending on what she was doing, which ended up muddling it and making it different from scene to scene.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily buy that. I think it probably was a bit shit.
It was shit.
And Travis Barker, the drummer of Blink-182, is in the credits as Scott Rayner, who was the previous drummer of Blink-182 and had been fired from the band prior to filming the scenes. So I don't know how somebody got that quite so wrong.
That's frustrating.
I say there are multiple sequels. There's the 3 with the same cast. I've seen American Pie 2 at the cinema, as I said. American Pie 3 I have seen at least once, but I do not remember anything about it. And I think by the time that came out, I was done with it. It was like I'd enjoyed the first one, I'd enjoyed the second one, and by the time 3 came out, I think my brother really liked the third one, but I was beyond it at that point. I was like, I can't be asked for this. And I've never seen the fourth one. I didn't even really know there was a fourth one actually until we started researching this.
3 and 4 are shit. Don't bother.
I remember 3. I have seen 3, and I remember it being shit. The cast and creative stuff. So director Paul Weitz has gone on to have a number of different films, but nothing particularly good. I mean, you're looking at stuff like American Dreams, About a Boy. Actually, did About a Boy. About a Boy.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
But apart from that, everything else is like he did the Little Fockers. I mean, meh. And Adam Hertz, I believe. Adam Hertz is the writer. Yeah, he wrote the sequels and produced some of the other sequels. The other sequels go beyond the fourth one. There's something like The Naked Mile and various other ones. The only consistent is, I think, Stifler's in a couple of them.
No, Stifler's not. It's just Eugene Levy.
Okay. Yeah, Eugene Levy kind of sticks around for the paycheck.
Yeah.
And that was all of the Smith trivia I had. There was lots more trivia on it, but I kind of, as I was reading through it, it was all just sort of like variations on the same thing. Like,
yeah, exactly.
This person ad-libbed, this person was offered this role, this person wanted this role. I was like, I don't believe. Half of it I didn't believe.
Yeah, pinch of salt.
Just feels like rumour. Yeah. Anyway, there we go.
Cool.
Smith trivia.
Lovely. So you've had some time to muse, and so have I. So, final question: does it hold up?
So, this is hard to answer because, as I've said, you take that 5 minutes out the middle, and absolutely, yes, it does. It's funny. It's remarkably sweet and not as leery as it could be. Unfortunately, it does have that 5 minutes in the middle, which, you can't take it out. You can't forget it's there. It kind of just sits in the middle of the film like a fucking dark mark that you just can't get rid of. So on that, I am gonna say, I'm not going to answer this one because the answer is yes and no.
Okay.
The answer is yes and no. You can't. I think if you could find a version of it that didn't have that in it, great. With it in, I wouldn't be comfortable recommending it to anyone.
Okay.
You?
That scene aside, yes, it holds up. So, yeah, I have the same sentiment as you, but I think I can look past it because Jim gets his comeuppance, or that he's made to look like a fool. It's not necessarily her. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna say it does.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. And I think, as I said, without that bit, yeah, it does. But if a hell of a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I was going to hate it. I didn't really enjoyed it. So yeah, apart from that, Cool. All right. Well, just plug our socials before we get out of here. You can reach us on email at itdoesn'tholduppodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at itdoesn'tholduppodcast. We're on Twitter, or X as it's now known, at doesn'tholduppod. We're on YouTube at It Doesn't Hold Up Podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other good places you listen to podcasts. Remember, give us a review on all good podcast platforms and everywhere else. And remember, we do welcome suggestions for things for us to cover. And it is actually Mr. Smith's turn to nominate the next choice. So what are we covering, Smith?
Well, Stu, we're going to go back to the 1980s.
Oh, okay.
Time of shoulder pads and big hair. And what if I were to say to you, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Excellent. I've legitimately not watched Crocodile Dundee in years. Yeah, great choice.
Oh,
I mean, it might be shit.
Oh no, I was talking about aliens. No.
Excellent. Yeah.
Cool. Yes, Crocodile Dundee, and the correct answer to that is that's not a knife. That's a spoon. Oh, I see you've played Knifey Spoony before,
which is also an amazing episode of The Simpsons. Awesome. All right. So next time we regroup, we will be covering Crocodile Dundee. I'm actually quite excited about that. So yeah, Smith. Before we get out of here, is there anything else you'd like to say on American Pie?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you all the same.
Cool. And I would like to say to all of you to relax, take it slow, and let the good times roll.